Hey folks, thanks for joining me today. So today's tutorial we're going to be working on a mold number 4 stone that is made from the molds that I received from the Happy Dotting Company. And we're going to be painting on a beautiful winter northern light scene. So I obviously use black as my base coat. And now I'm sponging in a couple of colors, Laguna and purple Pizzazz. So Laguna is one of the new colors that I received in the like the small package of seasonal paints from DecoArt. All of the names, so like the brand names and the color names, will be listed in the description. So, and please correct me if I am saying um, the Laguna name wrong. I'm looking at it and I see iguana, so I figured let's take away the I, put in an L, and you got Laguna. I don't know. That's just the way my mind works, and I guess that's how I'm going to pronounce it. So, um, anyways, with the painting, I am now putting on the snow. So I'm just using some Craft Smart multi-surface white paint. It's a little bit thicker, so I'm able to use it and give it some definition. And I threw in a bit of the light blue color. And then this is where you determine where your northern lights are going to be. So using the Craft Smart multi-surface white, I put on just lines, and very quickly after, don't let it dry, but very quickly after, I use a makeup brush. And it's because it's very soft and it's got long bristles, and you just ever so slightly flip up. So that way you get all of these striations of color. Actually, it's just white right now, but you get them all to flip up. Now I'm going to put on some trees. And the reason why is because when you're building a forest, you need a lot of trees. So I put in a lot of trees. So I have sped this part up so you don't have to, watch me do every single one of them in my normal speed. And basically what I'm doing is I mixed the tiniest bit of black in with my white to give me this off-white color. These are the trees that are going to be in the very background. So you're not going to see a lot of them, but you still have to do the full tree itself. So I just simply painted a line straight up and down. And now I'm just putting on these little bits here to form like their branches. And this is a coniferous forest, so it's full of evergreens, so pines and spruces. And then the next layer of trees is going to be a little bit darker. So again, I just took the little bit of black paint, added it to the white paint, and then I started painting the trees in the same manner. So just drawing a line straight up and down, and then painting with just like squiggly lines almost, or things like that, from the back or from the top to the bottom. Now what I'm doing is I'm using the purple Pizzazz, and I've added a lot of water. So it becomes like a wash or a stain. And I get to play with this for quite a long time, longer than what you would with normal color straight out of the bottle, because it's very watered down. And I want the trees to have a glow to them as well. So I am also painting those colors on there in the same manner to give them that little bit of color. Now what I'm doing is I'm going in with a little bit of a mixture of, so in this particular case, the Laguna color and a little bit of white. And I'm just adding details. So where I want like more predominant color of the northern lights to be shooting up, the stuff that's in the background is going to act like the glow. So, and I also did that with the background at the beginning. You would have seen me do that. I just sponged on those two colors and I added a little bit of black just to mute them down, but that the color was still there. Once this is resined, those colors are all going to shine through, and you're going to be so amazed with how easy this technique is with getting your northern lights done. So you just basically use white and you make sure that it's dry completely before you put your wash on there. And now, like I said, I'm just going in and I am adding in the details, and I will be coming back in with the wash again to really focus on these parts of the Northern Lights. So if you've never seen them, there is a million photos of them on the internet. But if you have seen them, you'll totally understand what I mean about these shooting rays of light that are coming straight out of the lines of the lights. So from what I understand, the Northern Lights are reflections of the icebergs that are in the up in the North Pole, and then they're reflecting, because they're so clear, they're reflecting the prism colors into the sky. If I'm wrong on that, I'm really sorry, but I find it's really awesome to believe, if you know what I mean. Like, I really like that story, or the way to that. It's what I believe. If it's not technical, I'm sorry, but that's what I'm going to believe. I think it's really a good story. So anyways, now I'm going in with more of the solid color, because with the Northern Lights, they are different hues of the same color. So light ones and dark ones. Dark ones are usually more predominant. That's why I put them in the front instead of in the background. So that way you get these little colors, and they blend in so nicely with each other, so that you get this mixture of colors as it goes from one sort of like a greeny color to the purple color, or sometimes they're red. Sometimes they're like a yellow green color. They're so, so pretty, and it's amazing to see. But like I said, it's just been too cold outside. We just had one of our coldest nights a few nights ago, and with the wind chill, it felt like minus 42 degrees Celsius. So whatever that is in Fahrenheit, I know it's darn cold. So I stayed in the house and I didn't really go anywhere, but I did a lot of painting. So I do have some more tutorials that are in the works, especially for Valentine's Day. I've got one really fun one that we're going to play with some background, and another one that's just a cutesy, heart kind of fun loving kind of stone. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And in order to know when I get something posted, you can subscribe to my channel and ring the notification bell to let you know. And the best way for you to let me know that you like this is by giving me the thumbs up. You can even leave me a comment if you wish. And I do answer all of the comments that I can get to. So definitely do that. And I'm looking forward to a new year of 2026, and we're going to have some fun this year. So now I'm putting in some of the light blue color, or it's more of like an aqua color, or like a teal color. And I'm putting that into the snow, because when you have snow, it changes. To me, it looks like there's blue in it. So I'm just adding a little bit of that to give it a little bit of shadow. And now I'm going to paint on some trees that are almost black. So again, still using the white, and I'm adding a little bit more black to it, so that I can get this really dark, dark gray color. And these trees are going to be in the forefront. So they're the ones that are going to be the ones that are viewed within the forest. You know that saying, like, can you see the tree for the forest? Well, this is what we're doing here. So We are making these trees the same way we did the other ones. We're just doing it a little bit slower to make sure that we can get each one of those branches into the right size, into the right shape, and into the right angle. Now, you don't have to be perfect in these because I find that as you go along, you may make a mistake or one branch is longer than the other. It's Mother Nature. Mother Nature is not perfect. So it's totally okay to have maybe some that are odd and not perfectly shaped. The only thing that I do suggest is try to keep in mind while you're painting your branches on your trees is to keep it into a triangular shape. So it's obviously going to be wider at the bottom and very, very tight, I guess, at the top. And always have like a little one sort of sticking straight up. That's called a leader. And I only know that because of my previous job, but every tree has a leader, and that's the one that sort of continues to grow and reach for the sky. So make sure you have that on all of those and just put on the branches all over the place. It makes it look so natural and realistic by doing it this way. And I'm just using a fine lining brush. I'm not using the fan brush. I have tried to figure out that technique and I can't. I just can't do it. I cannot wrap my head around how I can get these branches with a fan brush. If you can do it, congratulations. I cannot. I've tried too many times. So this is the way that I do it. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's the right way to do it, but it's the way that I feel most comfortable and that I can get this part done. So if you are great with a fan brush, I will let you know right now that using the fan brush is going to go a lot faster than just doing it with a fine lining brush. But to each their own. This is the way that I'm comfortable with doing it, and this is the way that I make my little forests. So I feel like there was a little bit of an open space there, so I had to throw in another tree. And then we're going to work more on the snow because at the end of this, we're going to have like a little frozen creek that is coming out of the forest and into the meadow or into this open field that's in the foreground, and have it sort of just, making its way through. And so we've got to do a few things with the snow and things like that. So we'll get to that in a few minutes. I'm just adding a few more trees in the background there with the lighter color of the gray that I have mixed together with white and the black, just to give a little bit more depth and making it look more 3D, I guess. And then this is a fun thing to do. I do this a lot in my realistic paintings, is I like to give like a foggy mist. So it's really easy to do. I use one of my bigger blending brushes and I put it into some white paint, and then I brush most of it off on a paper towel. And then basically what I'm doing is I'm dry brushing and I'm working in circles so that I get this little mist kind of looking. What I've noticed is when it gets extremely cold, like it has been here, and that the northern lights are out, a lot of the moisture in the air crystallizes, even though it's not very high off the ground, and you end up with this fog or this mist. And it's very, very cold, and it's all these little moisture crystals that have basically formed together. They're not heavy enough to fall to the ground, but they're not light enough to evaporate up into the sky because it's too cold and form clouds. So it just sort of hangs around at the bottoms of the trees. So I wanted to put that aspect into it, and it just makes it look so much more whimsical and really makes it look cold outside, or at least cold in this painting. So, and I'm just going to add a couple of trees in the forefront that are sort of growing outside of the forest, but in the edge of the meadow or the edge of the clearing, and just to give a little bit more of depth to this and more 3D kind of look. And then we're going to start working on doing the little creek that comes through. We're going to add some shadows as well and things like that. And if you're still with me, thank you very much for watching and listening to me ramble on about this. Uh, it's a longer video than normal, but I really wanted to show you everything from start to finish. I know that doing the trees took the longest in doing this painting, but you really needed to see how to do the different layers so that you get that depth. Like you can really see the depth in this. Like it's a huge forest and it just goes on forever and ever. And the northern lights are above it, shining down on them on this very, very cold wintry night. So there's the little creek that I just sort of sketched on there by using some gray paint. And now I'm going to come in and I'm going to really start to define where the snow drifts come and land just on the edges of the creek. And you got to remember too, snow is never pointed, it's always rounded. So it needs to have these little soft flowing edges that sort of curve down and end on top of the little creek. So that's what I'm doing here by using the little gray paint. Well, it's not little gray paint, it's my little paintbrush with the gray paint. And I do this on both sides. Once you get this done, then you can really start to form out the different colors of the snow by putting in some of that blue color, like light blue color. So I took some of that Laguna color, mixed in a little bit of white so that it was just a very, very small tint of the color. And I'm adding that in as the shadows in the snow. And then I do a little bit more in the actual creek. I'm doing it now, I believe. Yep, I'm just bringing some of that color down and I'm sharpening up the edges around the snowbanks that are coming down and making it look all pretty and realistic and all that good stuff. So now what I'm doing is the same thing as what I did with that floating mist that was going on, but I'm using the gray color to add shadows around the trees that are in the forefront. And it's the same thing. I dab it into the paint. I wipe it off on a paper towel so that there's just barely a little bit of paint on it. And I just rub it on. And in this one, I rubbed it back and forth rather than in circles because I really wanted it to show as the shadows. These shadows are being created by the northern lights that are shining down onto this forest. So I'm just adding some more color here to that creek to make it look a little bit more realistic. And then I'm wiping on, I'm putting on some grayer paint or light white to get sort of an idea as to the glow of the trees or glow on the trees. And then I'm just dabbing it off with my finger so that there's just a little tiny hint of it there. I don't need it. I didn't want a lot. Too much got on there, so I just used my finger to dab it off. So now I'm cleaning it up and I used my compass again to draw that circle back on. It was a little bit tough to find the center, but I found it. And now I'm just adding the black paint to go around. And then to frame it off, I am actually going to use silver. That's right. No gold in this one. It's all going to be the cold tones or the cool tones of things because I really want the northern lights to be the focal point. And so that's why I went with silver, and that's what I'm doing right now. So this is DecoArt metallic shimmering silver, and I just do it the same way as I do my gold, and I paint around the frame so that it's sort of like the last touch, the last thing to do. So I finished this up. I let it dry at least for 24 hours, and then I give it a nice wipe to make sure that all of my pencil marks and everything are gone. And then I give it a coat of resin. So once the resin is dry, that's when it gets its photo opportunity. And I show you the pictures at the end of the video, which is coming up very, very soon. So again, folks, I want to thank you for joining me. And remember, folks, life is what you make it. So get creative.